Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video on the channel. And in today's video, I wanted to talk about some gaming news. Some of the news, or I guess some of the things that we will be talking about in this video is pretty, I don't say old news, but like in terms of like me wanting to talk about it, I feel like I'm kinda past on like freaking the newness of this news, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. But I wanted to talk about, multiple things, or really only like 2 to 3 things in this video pertaining to gaming. I'm, late to some of this stuff, but, I still want to talk about it, still want to, give my thoughts and opinions on everything. And the first thing I wanted to talk about in this video is Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. I wanted to talk about that game in this video, and I just wanted to talk about the issues that game seems to be having. So it's kind of weird because this game in particular, I've been actually looking forward to this game, and mainly because it is a remake of Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. And when it comes to Metal Gear Solid games, my experience is pretty, little to none. I basically, starting off, I've only played the first Metal Gear Solid game in the series, and I've played a little bit of, I think it's called Phantom Liberty, if I'm not, or I think it's called Sons of Liberty, I believe, which is the second game. But I've only played a little bit of that one. I haven't finished it yet, but I want to go back and play through those games. Obviously, I want to play through Sons of Liberty, the original Snake Eater, play through those games. But I was particularly looking forward to Delta Snake Eater, whatever you want to call it, mainly because it was a remake of Snake Eater, and I wanted to experience Snake Eater in a new version of the game. I was originally going to play through Snake Eater, or the original Snake Eater first, and then play the remake, but there are so many games to play that I didn't get to it. So I thought to myself, okay, so I'll play through the remake first, or the new version first, and then I'll go back and experience the original version. So that was my thought process up to now, basically, or, a week ago, when I heard of the news of the performance issues that this game has, especially on console. I know the console version of this, bro, we're gonna get into it. The console version of this, bro, is like the performance mode, the quality mode, whatever you're gonna call it, the performance, the fact that like it dips down to apparently 720p on freaking consoles. The PS5 Pro version is worse. I don't know how worse than the base PS5 version, but I heard the PS5 Pro version is not as good as the PS5 version. And I was reading up on, just like the issues this game has, just performance-wise, and it just seems like, especially on a console, when it comes to performance mode and quality mode for this game, it just seems like there's just like a weird, like you'll have like the, I don't know specifically, but there's some, when it comes to performance and quality mode on the base PS5, it seems like there's some, versions on the PS5, but base version that just runs better on the PS5 Pro version, and it's like a weird mix of like, okay, this version of the console version runs a little bit bit better than the other version, and like the vice versa and stuff like that, and it's like a weird inconsistency of that. And I don't know, man, when I heard all of that, it definitely made me a little apprehensive of getting this game, because I have a base PS5, I don't have a PS5 Pro, and hearing about these performance issues and having, people talking about Unreal Engine 5 and that being an issue as to why, this game is running poorly on consoles as well. I don't know. I think it's definitely probably maybe a mix of all of those things. Obviously, I've also heard that, like, you know, when it came to the development of this game, you know, they were kind of lazy in like the just getting this game to run well on the consoles version. When it comes to the PC version of this game, I heard it's like capped at like 60 FPS, and I heard that like as of recording this video, that people have actually gone in or went in and basically, you know, modded it so like it could, you know, go above 60 frames per second. And yeah, and also I've been reading reviews for this game, and you know, mainly the Metacritic score. It's like sitting at like a 85 right now, and yeah, the reviews for this game so far seem pretty positive, and so it's got me in a weird kind of state of like, should I buy this game or should I wait? Because I've kind of gotten to the point to where, like, right now at least, it's like I don't want to really buy the game on console, and I would buy it on PC, but my PC, and it's a gaming PC, it's not a bad gaming PC, but it's definitely not, like, I feel like up to par or up to standard with like what, you know, what it should be when it comes to like running new games on, like, you know, PC and stuff like that. So I mainly play on console basically, and you know, I could get into like the technical terms of like how or what my PC specs are and stuff like that. But when it comes to that, I'm pretty like dumb when it comes to that kind of stuff, so I'm not even gonna try to elaborate on that anymore. So, you know, I don't know, I'm kind of in this weird state of like, should I get this game, should I wait, should I play the original first? And I don't know, that's kind of where I am right now. And yeah, man, it just sucks that like, and this game being full price and everything, and like, yeah, man, and I don't know, like, I just don't feel good about paying $70 for a game that may or may not run well on my console. And yeah, it just sucks. But like, yeah, I think I'm gonna wait. Hopefully they patch the game. Hopefully, you know, I'm able to play on console and not have issues. But yeah, I've heard like people, you know, actually like this game, and that it's reviewing well and that people enjoy it. And so like, I don't know. And I was also looking at some of the freaking critic scores on Metacritic, and the critic reviews, and just looking at the PlayStation 5 critic reviews, it seems like, you know, it's been getting a lot of good reviews on PlayStation 5, even despite the performance issues that I've been hearing about and everything in the game not running well on console. And so it's kind of got me in this it's because it's just like, I don't know, it's just like, should I get this game, bro, or should I wait? And I'm leaning towards still waiting right now. But hey, man, I don't know, it's definitely disappointing because this was one of my most anticipated games of this year. I was looking forward to playing this game and experiencing Snake Eater in a more, you know, in a remake style version of the game with, you know, better, you know, graphics and everything and better performance or whatever. I don't know, but it just seems like that's not necessarily going to be the case right now. And so I am willing to wait on that. And yeah, it sucks, but you know, I am willing to wait. I don't want to spend $70 in a game that doesn't run well on my console. Like that's another thing. That's another topic I wanted to get into. The price, just the prices of this console. Now, we've been, you know, talking about, obviously this started off this year with Nintendo, with them raising the price of their games to $80. And then we had Xbox, they raised the price of their games as well. And now, you know, it was just like a guessing game of, it was basically a guessing game of when was PlayStation going to raise the price of their games? When were they gonna, you know, When were they gonna rip the band-aid off and say like, yeah, hey guys, I know, you know, we were the last ones to do this, but like, I'm sorry, we gotta just rip that band-aid off, we just gotta do it. And it has finally happened. PlayStation has raised the price of their consoles. There is a PlayStation blog. I wanted to read the PlayStation blog real quick and just give my opinions and thoughts on it. So, the PlayStation blog reads, similar to many global businesses, we continue to navigate a challenging economic environment. As a result, we've made the difficult decision to increase the recommended retail price for PlayStation 5 consoles in the US starting on August 21st. Obviously, it's not August 21st anymore. We're literally a week after, this has happened. The updated recommended retail price for PlayStation 5 console in the US are as followed. PlayStation 5 will be $549.99. PlayStation 5 Digital Edition will be $500. PlayStation 5 Pro version will be $750. I don't know why I didn't read the PlayStation 5. I should have just said it's gonna be $550 now. But yeah, you get the gist. And so reading this and taking in this information, in like we were just talking about Metal Gear Solid's Delta Snake Eater and how like the PS5 Pro version of that game runs apparently worse than the PlayStation 5 version of the game. And so when you hear that and then you see that that freaking PlayStation is raising the price of the PS5 Pro to almost, like, if you really think about it, the PS5 Pro does not have a disc drive. You have to buy the disc drive. And that the disc drive is almost $80. So you're looking at, like, literally almost an $800 console, basically, at this point. And it's just like, yeah, man, that combined with like the news of Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater not running good on PlayStation 5, it just leads me to like think like, why am I investing in these consoles anymore, bro? Like, it's literally gotten to this point till where like I literally and I love playing on console. That's how I started playing video games as a kid. Like, I have always been a console gamer. I've always, liked using the controller over, keyboard and mouse and stuff like that. And I had a PS4. I loved my PS4. I had a freaking, an Xbox One, I think, at one point, but I kind of stopped using it at a certain time. I had an Xbox 360. I grew up with consoles. I grew up using consoles, experiencing most of my gaming journey, with consoles. And so it just sucks that like right now, like, gaming, especially on consoles, just seems like a very, I don't know, just weird and just like, not even weird, that's not the word to use, like just in a very like not a good experience right now. Like, it just seems like, especially when it comes to these consoles and Xbox and PlayStation specifically, you have these consoles that are so expensive now, and you're asking people to pay $70 to $80 for console or for games, and you have some games like Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater that don't run well on consoles. You're asking people to pay all this money for this. And to me, I just think it's super annoying. And I don't want to say it's necessarily all of PlayStation 5's or PlayStation's, fault, because we are, you got the freaking tariffs and you got the freaking, the economic change that this country is going through. And so obviously these companies and like these, they have to adapt to the changes and everything. And so I don't want to like, put all the blame on the freaking, companies, but like it gets to a point to where like, even though it's not necessarily the company's fault, it still sucks that this is happening. This is still not a good thing. This still sucks that like this has to happen, and it's like you're outpricing, or you're outpricing some of these people out of some of these consoles, and it's just like it's gonna get even harder for people to want to like buy into like a PlayStation 5 or like a PlayStation 5 Pro at, you know, like it's just bad. And it's gotten me to the point where it's like, and I've heard people talk about this. Like, I've literally heard people say, like, you know, at this point, I'm just gonna get a PC. You know, it just seems like PC is a more better thing to get into now, especially with these consoles being so expensive. And even I have gotten to the point where it's like, if the prices of these consoles keep going up and everything, I might invest. Like, I have a gaming PC, but like I don't have like a very up-to-date gaming PC. So it's kind of just made me think, should I just like get into gaming, or should I just get into a PC gaming and like not get a console anymore? Should I just like not even invest in like I don't even want to talk about like PlayStation 6, but like when it comes to like, I don't know, just like it just seems like, I don't know, we're in a weird spot for console gaming, and it just seems like, you know, there is no like, because consoles used to be like back in the day, like it's such a weird concept, because literally back in the day, consoles used to get cheaper in price as the generation would go on, and now we're looking at consoles that are literally going up in price now, and it's such a weird like dynamic of that. And it's just like, I don't know, it's just weird and it sucks, and yeah, man. Okay, so let's at least move on to the last thing. I know this whole video has, it kind of just seems like I've been just like complaining and rambling on for so long, and I do want to, you know, talk about positive things in this video, and this is, I feel like, at least somewhat positive. I'm gonna read this IGN article, and it reads, PlayStation boss says company now does much more rigorous and more frequent testing after Concord's failure. And so this article is basically talking about the PlayStation CEO Herman Hulst talking about how, like, you know, we don't want basically another Concord failure, and we're gonna, you know, make sure that like these games are, you know, not freaking overly expensive and freaking flop and then, you know, cost us so much money basically. And hearing that, you know, that definitely is a good thing. You know, we have been talking about, you know, especially when it comes to PlayStation, you know, we have things, you know, we had Concord, which was a major disappointment, and, you know, we had PlayStation trying to dip their toes, not even dip their toes, it kind of just seems like they were trying to go full into like live service games and everything, and that just seeming like it, you know, backfiring, you know, especially with Concord. You know, you had all these live service games that were planned to come out, but it seems like most of them, if not, you know, not all of them, but most of them seems like they're getting canceled, or they're just not seeing the, you know, the light of day, or the sun, like whatever term you want to freaking use. It just seems like, yeah, when it comes to PlayStation and the whole live service thing, it just seems like they, you know, don't know what they're doing. And also you have Marathon, which was supposed to come out this year, but you know, has gotten delayed, and it's, you know, it's seen layoffs and stuff like that. And so like, yeah, when it comes to, you know, some of these games and them, you know, the live service, you know, aspect of it all, it just seems like the smarter decision is to, like, you know, lessen the live service games, maybe lessen the or lessen how expensive some of these games are just in general, and just focus on, you know, really honing in on, you know, a strict plan, in a plan that, you know, that you're constantly looking over, and you're going like, hey, is this working? Is that working? Is this actually going to lead to something successful? Obviously. And the article basically, you know, says the company is hoping to mitigate future big expensive risk with future games. I don't want teams to always play it safe, but I would like for us, when we fail, to fail early and cheaply, I guess is what he said. And so, I don't know, man. I do still think there is a part of this where, like, have they learned their lesson in all of this? Are they actually going to, adhere to this plan of them actually trying to lessen, live service games, and them trying to actually, because last year obviously we had Conquer, which was a massive disappointment, but then we had something like Astrobot, which was praised and it won multiple Game of the Year awards and stuff like that, and was an awesome game for PlayStation. You look at that game and you look at how well it sold and everything, it's just like, I don't know, it's just a weird thing of like, I don't want like, it's not like PlayStation can never make live service games, because you look at Helldivers 2 and that's been successful for PlayStation, and so I don't think it's necessarily like there should be 0 live service games or 0 multiplayer games or anything like that. It's just like, you need to make sure like the studios who are making these live service games and the developers who are making these types of games, they know what they're doing and they have an experience of making these types of games. And you could say that like, okay, well, you look at freaking Bungie and you look at Marathon, and it's just like, well, yeah, Bungie has an experience with making multiplayer games. They made the Halo games, but it seems like even with them, they can't make a successful live service multiplayer shooter or like whatever with Marathon. And so I don't know. I feel like it is a thing of like, even if you are experienced in that realm, you might not even get it right then, it seems like. And so yeah, man, reading this, it's somewhat a good thing, because obviously we wanted PlayStation to kind of just step away from them trying to push live service down our throats like all the time. And so it seems like they're trying to focus more on the single player games of it all, and them focusing on IP and stuff like that. But he also went on to say like, he also wants more massive Sony IP. When he talks about that, I don't really, I mean, I know what he means, but I feel like when it comes to PlayStation, I feel like they have a very, when it comes to like their, massive AAA, games, like I feel like they have a lot of IP. Like I feel like, when you look at their games, they have, The Last of Us, Spider-Man, freaking Ghost, like the Ghost of Tsushima games, like the Ghost of Yotei games, obviously. Like I feel like they have like a lot of, obviously, Naughty Dog has, Uncharted, even though I don't want them to make another Uncharted game, but that's a whole different story. I made a video about it and everything about that. But obviously they have, Intergalactic as well, which is coming out. And so when it comes to like him saying I want more IP and I want more big games that we can, I guess turn into movies or TV shows or like whatever, that it's like, okay, I guess I see what you're saying, but like at the same time, like I feel like when it comes to, especially when it comes to PlayStation, I feel like they're already successful at the whole, massive Sony IP thing or whatever. And so that it's just kind of just like a, I don't know, like I feel like PlayStation especially is already successful in that endeavor. So yeah, man, those are all the things I wanted to talk about, just gaming wise, that have just been on my mind, and I just wanted to, sit down and make a video about it. So yeah, man, in the comments section below, what are your thoughts on basically all the things that I talked about this video, or in this video? Are you getting Metal Gear Solid? That's such a long name. Are you getting MGS Delta Snake Eater, whatever the freak you want to call it? Are you getting it on console? Are you getting on PC? Are you gonna wait to get it because of the performance issues? What are your thoughts on the PlayStation price hikes? Do you think that freaking PlayStation or these companies are just raising the price of these consoles, and it's just like, are you gonna change to freaking PC gaming because of the price hikes? Also, I want to know your opinions on that. And then also, talking about the Herman Hulse article and everything, and him talking about freaking PlayStation and them wanting to lessen their live service games and focus on, or honing in on more of their massive Sony IPs and everything like that. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on that as well. And yeah, man, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. And yeah, man, I will see you guys in the next one. So yeah, bye.